It's the Monday Afternoon Journal Club. Ed Bowder and Dan Schwester here. Danny, how we doing today?
We're doing all right, Ed. We're hanging in. I heard we got a kind of a serious topic today.
Yeah, I'm really excited to destroy your entire mood here today. So we've we, we've talked on the show plenty of times about moral injury and
Yeah.
and all of that and suicidal ideation within the industry. I'm really excited for this video to get buried on TikTok and demonetized on YouTube. Um, but the thing is, it's important to talk about. So you and I, we've known providers who have fallen victim to suicide.
Yeah.
It's never fun. One is far too many. But what this
Mhm.
paper in Nature looked at, and Brandon Griffin's the principal author, is coming out of Little Rock, Arkansas. It talks about in the United States, there's about 13.2 million people who report suicidal ideation annually. Now, the ideation is just the thought, right? It's not necessarily the action. And about 1.6 million people complete suicide, and that data is as of 2022. So, not good. We don't love those numbers for the general population overall. It's 1.5 million people that could still be here, but certainly in EMS, it's something that we've experienced problems with. We've talked about burnout. Remley Crow's done such good research on burnout in this field, and here we
Absolutely.
have this is coming out of Nature, and they looked at mental health and moral injury and suicidal behaviors among U.S. military veterans, healthcare workers, and first responders. So there's a variable here that needs to be considered, that they include people in the military, which
Okay.
are not necessarily, they're not first responders, but it is kind of it's a different data set, right? Where they people in the military have similar experiences to first responders, but it's certainly very different. But even though this sample is a little bit heterogeneous,
But
we have a
but
sample.
both
Good.
but both career fields, like the title says, high stress, service
Yeah.
oriented occupations.
Right.
So they do fit. It makes sense. And
So yeah,
remember,
yeah,
not
it makes
not everybody in the military is a trigger puller too. So
right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's the military is a huge organization that involves a lot of people in
enormous.
offices as well.
Right.
But it is an important cross section of the population to look
Right.
at. So I'm not disparaging that. This sample has 1,232 people that they looked at, and again, more accurate but depressing results. 12.1% reported experiencing suicidal ideation in the past 2 weeks. 7.4% had attempted suicide in their lifetime. And individuals who screened positive for moral injury, was 6% of the sample, had significantly higher odds of current suicidal ideation. So, and this doesn't go into necessarily how, people who have completed it. Again, it gives the sample for the United States writ large, but it just, so looking at this, Dan, and again, it's easy to be super personal about this for obvious reasons, and we should be.
Right.
Um, but yeah, one in more than 1 in 10 in the past 2 weeks is I don't love that number. That doesn't make me feel good.
It should scare you.
Yep.
I think it scares me. Um, we've got a problem. We've got a big problem in these jobs, and we've got a big problem writ large nationwide. We have a lot of people out there who've lost a lot of hope. Um, these are people in high stress jobs, granted, but service oriented jobs tend to be the most fulfilling. That's what we hear. It's always good to take care of our fellow man, especially whether you're serving the nation in the military or you're serving the nation in healthcare. You're doing something for your fellow man that's bigger than you. And that should be commendable. It should get us through the tough times, but it's
Right.
not. We have, as a culture, not addressed this. I can tell you that back in the old days, um, we did not handle stress well. We didn't understand moral injury. We didn't
Right.
understand the concepts around this. And I think this is a matter of the chickens have come home to roost. We've ignored this for so long that once we actually started figuring out ways to counter it, I think those things weren't embraced because we didn't believe it, because we didn't think that wellness and doing things outside and, getting away from the job and counseling or therapy, we haven't had it for so long that we don't expect it. We don't believe we deserve it. So the
Yep.
culture is, hey, push it down, swallow your emotions. It's the job. It is what it is. You have to have a thick skin, so to speak. Um, and it's a host for a lot of bad behavior. I've talked about on the show and I've talked about in blogs about, the old barstool debrief where,
Yeah.
when I was a young paramedic, firefighter, cop, we had bad calls and I can tell you exactly where we were and I can tell you exactly where we stayed. I'm not proud of it. I don't take it as, hey, this is a great thing. It's what it was. Now, there were
Right.
probably some positives to that. There was a lot of negatives to it. We haven't learned yet. And I think we have to start opening our eyes to this. Otherwise, who's going to want to go into these jobs? Who's going to want to take
Yep.
care of people? Who's going to step up and say, I'm willing to serve if they know they're not going to be taken care of, or if they know that it's essentially a suicide mission? Because for
Yeah.
some people, it is.
It is. Well, and I think that's the interesting thing here is, yeah, and again, this is something that is not new, right? It's not novel. We've talked about this paper came out August 1st of this year. So we're still at, in 2025, pushing 2026, we're still having this conversation of like, hey, we have this problem. And, where it kills me is like, I mentioned Remley Crow earlier. Her dissertation came out in 2018, right? So and her work was super novel, right? Broke a lot of ground for a lot of people. This work builds off of her work.
Right.
7 years.
Mhm.
7 years with this data has been extant. And what we're doing is we're talking about it instead of doing something about it. We're doing the thing that we tend to do a lot in EMS, where we are leadership, management, whatever, is taking the onus of this and putting it onto the staff, right? Where you'll go into management, and this isn't again against one organization, one person. This is the system. This is how we operate, where
Agreed.
we have people who have been undertrained, poorly trained in mental health awareness, put into positions of power that are under equipped to work with the staff the way that they should, right? In an effective way that would actually improve their mental health. Instead, what happens is staff tends to be encouraged to take time off, right? Because like, just don't be here. If you just go away, you'll be better. And that's a component to it. But again, there's that second order part where maybe your organization doesn't offer enough PTO. Maybe you're not able to get FMLA. Maybe you're a per diem medic or a per diem EMT who doesn't have benefits that you can take time off of work, right? So I think and obviously devotees of the show, we're going to know that they're going to hear me say the data is extant again, but like there's no mystery to this, right?
Yeah.
Every conference we've gone to since 2018, there's been at least one session on moral injury and burnout among workers. This paper came out as we're recording this. It came out 6 weeks ago.
Mhm.
13%,
Mhm.
13% still have
Mhm.
it within the past 2 weeks, which means that I could survey 10 EMTs and one of them would be like, yeah, things aren't
Oh
going all
yeah,
that
that's
great.
me. It's me.
And
Yeah.
it's fine to talk about it, right? That's great. Where we have some kind of introduction to actually have a dialogue about it.
It's
The
great to
problem
talk
is,
about it, but at some point you got to do something about it.
right? It's not
We
getting
are
better, and that's
Ed.
that's the rub.
Wait, I'm going to blow your mind. We are over a quarter of the way to the 22nd century.
Yeah.
Captain
Yep.
Kirk, Star Trek.
Right.
That's the 22nd century. We
We
still
don't have flying
know.
cars, and people are still sad, and I hate that.
We have still not figured out how to keep people in EMS or these high stress service professions. How do we keep them mentally well? We don't know
And
what to do.
yeah.
Listen, one of the things is
Well,
great.
no.
Listen,
I'm going to push back on that. I think we know what to do. Like the data is perfectly clear on what to do and how to fix this. Everything that we do almost. It seems like we're doing it purposefully wrong,
all
right?
right. So
What's
all
one
right.
of the
So
one of the
let's go
biggest
one further.
Hang on. What's one of the biggest stressors in EMS? It's shift length.
Mhm.
Right. But it's a standard that we all have to work 12 hours or longer. Right. And we look
Mhm.
at it as a benefit because, oh, well, we only work 3 days a week. You're still working. And most of us don't make enough money that you have to work an overtime shift. So you're actually working
Mhm.
48 hours. So when we're given this thing like, well, just don't come in, that's not an option. Right. If I'm someone who has depression or PTSD and I have suicidal ideations, not going to work is going to foundationally and operationally make things worse for me. So
You could.
why are we offering that kind of advice when we know it's not going to work?
Why
There's
why don't every one of these jobs mandate yearly mental health screenings, therapy, yoga, whatever you need?
sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Or like, but if you're not going to mandate it,
And
you have to
I'm
make it
saying,
available.
listen, I'm saying yoga and everybody rolls their eyes and goes, "Oh, granola woo woo stuff." But here's the
No,
thing,
it works.
we know physical activity raises endorphin levels. It provides resilience. It makes you more mentally strong. Either whether you're doing a warrior pose or you're walking around the neighborhood, we know this works. We know it's
Yeah.
proven. Again, the data is
Extant. There is and there's so much that keeps coming out about mental health for first responders and EMTs and paramedics and especially for military personnel as well. It's deeply frustrating to see the
we have to do
same
something.
results over and over again. But
Right. We
this is
have
something
to
that
do
we
something.
need to work on. We need to grow. We need to build, and we need to stop letting our friends and our colleagues leave a little bit too early. What do
We
you
have
guys
to.
think about this very low stress topic? Comment down below and be sure to subscribe on all of our social medias. We're on TikTok and all the other stuff. Check out our work on EMS1 as well with our team out there at Lexipol. And for the Overrun, Ed Bowder, Dan Schwester, this is the Monday Afternoon Journal Club, and we will talk to you next time.